At that time, we didn't know where he was going. Just told him, give me everything.
The Toronto Raptors are NBA champions.
You know, decide from there.
Talk about a dynamic duo. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are officially Clippers, but it might not be forever. Both superstars can become free agents in 2 years. So, Will, let's start with you here. Who is under more pressure, Kawhi Leonard or Paul George?
Paul George is under more pressure than Kawhi Leonard. Why are you making that face?
You know I'm making that face. You know exactly why I'm making that face.
He's always got a face.
Because it's Kawhi Leonard in your estimation?
Yeah, clearly it's Kawhi Leonard. Go ahead. I want to hear why.
Kawhi Leonard has nothing to prove. No pressure rests upon his shoulders. He's done it. He's done it twice. He's done it when not dictating his outcomes. He's done it without any real superstar beside him. He has taken down dynasties twice. What's left for Kawhi Leonard to prove to you if he hasn't already proven it? You can't be persuaded. There's no pressure on Kawhi Leonard. However, the question's about Paul George. Who can Paul George be in the playoffs? We know who he can be in a regular season. He was an MVP candidate through much of this regular season. But man, those playoff questions, they remain about Paul George. When it's mattered, Paul George has not been there. First for the Pacers, and he did better with the Thunder. But when it came down to a Game 5 or Game 6, Paul George was great. But I used to talk about this with Dan Dockich on the Will Cain show. When it comes to a Game 7, he's going to put up one of his 2 for 16 efforts. The Paul George 1 for 15, 2 for 16 games are always in there waiting to come out. Paul George has to prove that he can deliver in the playoffs and that he can be on a championship level team. In this case, a number 2 on a championship level team. What are you smiling about?
Are you done yet? Are you done yet?
I'm never done, but you can go ahead and try your hand now.
You know what? I know that's cute. You're into stats and highlights and all these numbers, and I'm not sure how it worked in water polo with you, Will Cain.
Hold on.
But
just to be clear, was 1 for 16 too complicated for you as a number?
No, I want to know.
That's usually your stat line, wasn't it? Did you ever get 16 shots up?
Oh, that's cute. That's cute. We'll find your water polo
stat. It was 1 for 6.
But I'm trying to figure out, Will Cain, I don't know how it works in water polo when you had your little Speedo on. All right. But how does the best player on the planet not have pressure? How is it not all about Kawhi Leonard? Because we're not mistaken, not just did he put his play to the test, he put his GM skills on. He made the call to KD. He made the call to Paul George and said, Paul, come over to the Clippers. You know what? We're going to trade it all for you. What? Our future? Hey, Gilgeous-Alexander, Gallo, a record number of first-round picks for you. And guess what? Why are you coming? Because I want a championship. I'm trying to put something together. So how you tell me that there's more pressure on Paul George rather than Kawhi Leonard? It enamors me.
Because
and that's what
you're making the argument that Kawhi Leonard is the alpha.
So you're saying you've seen it before, right?
I know I've seen it.
So where do those expectations go? They go away?
They're proven.
They go away?
They're proven.
Hold on. So you're telling me the pressure goes away, Will?
Let me say something. Look at that suit. Look at those shoes. You're making your money somehow. You've been to Vegas, yes? You ever get a little up on Vegas?
What do you say?
The hands are rolling your way.
You
know, now you're not in your pocket anymore. Now you're in Vegas's pocket. You're playing with house money. Kawhi is playing with house money. Everything already is on the house. He's proven it. He's shown what he is under pressure. Man, this guy, I made the analogy a minute ago. LeBron, okay, he's nominally the king of LA, right? He's the king. He's the king of the NBA. Mm-hmm. He's perhaps the king of professional sports.
Yep.
This dude is the assassin. This dude is out. He's a secret agent. He's out here not just running what's happening on the basketball court, but what's happening in the back rooms, what's happening in the GM offices. This guy, he's not just running LA, he's taken on, or seemingly impervious to any kind of pressure your expectations, or Los Angeles's, or the fan bases might put upon him. There's no pressure on Kawhi Leonard because, one, the questions have already been answered, and two, pressure doesn't affect him. Look up there. Look at his face. No, seriously. Look at that. I don't know.
Hold on. Let me ask you something.
Does that look like a face that feels pressure?
Hold on. Stop it.
This one has something to prove.
Next year?
This face here has something to prove. This one is where the pressure is. That one is playing with house money.
What are the expectations for the Clippers?
It's a title.
What are the titles? And you brought up Vegas, right? Vegas odds say who? Clippers, right?
Charlie just laid it out, even with the Lakers.
I just want to. They're not even.
Yeah, they are.
What
They are
did
now.
it shift yesterday? What did it shift with Boogie Cousins signing?
You and facts have a very difficult relationship.
Well, this was just
you
a
need to
couple.
listen to
This
me.
was a couple days ago that the Clippers were the favorites, and they're still clearly the favorites. So where you're really missing the mark is that when your name goes up in the lights, numbers-wise, of having the best win percentage in NBA history, ahead of Magic Johnson, ahead of Larry Bird, you scored the third most points in a playoff performance ever, ahead of on pace with LeBron James and Michael Jordan. How do you not have pressure? Like, pressure doesn't go away. Expectations don't go away.
Let me ask you a question. Watch
And
this.
Hold
Watch
on. And I want you to understand this. With a guy like Paul George, that's one thing
Right.
that you're never going to question, even though his shooting percentages may not always be there. A shooter's going to shoot, but this man never lacks for effort. He's a guy who's one of the best two-way players. In fact, those two right now are the best two-way players in basketball. He's a playmaker on the defensive end. He's a big guard. He's going to rebound. I know what I'm going to get out of Paul George. Kawhi Leonard has to show me last year wasn't a fluke.
Oh, my good Lord.
Kawhi Leonard has to show me it wasn't an accident. He has to show me that it wasn't just Golden State injured.
The whole
you
year.
said you know who Paul George is. But,
I know who Paul George is.
But Kawhi Leonard needs to prove to you that he's not a fluke.
Consistency. How many years have we said that this man is the best player on the planet?
He's been very consistent.
Let me not take the bait
His
on
defense.
that insanity for a moment. I'll just not run down that
How long has he been the
Alice
best
in
player on the
Wonderland
planet?
rabbit hole of whether or not Kawhi Leonard is a fluke. Let me ask you a question, Charlie.
Let me ask, how long has he been considered the best player on the planet?
I don't consider him the best player on the planet today, so that question is loaded in a way
Okay.
that I don't believe.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
You just said this. Paul George's deal is up when?
He's 2 years with the option.
And Kawhi Leonard's deal, by choice, the one he just chose to sign, correct? Mm-hmm. Could have probably dictated the terms of his deal, taken whatever he wanted, a 4-year deal.
Yep,
He
whatever he
chose
wanted.
what? He chose how much?
Same thing.
Same thing. What did he do? He timed his deal to Paul George. And by the way, with the player option, LeBron James in LA. What I'm laying out for you here is Kawhi Leonard wants to see what he can accomplish with Paul George. He's putting his free agency on the same footing as Paul George. He's looking for answers to the question of whether or not he can win a title with Paul George. Kawhi Leonard knows he could win a title with Kyle Lowry. He knows he could win a title with the Toronto Raptors. He's waiting to see if Paul George he can win a title with.
Win with Kyle Lowry?
He just did it, man.
Hold on.
He
Knew he came in with the expectations that I'm going to win with Kyle Lowry?
I'm saying now.
No, just stop it. Stop it. He won, but he didn't know he was going to win.
Ryan,
I know as an athlete you put in your mind.
What I'm laying out for you that you're having trouble adding up, the 1 and 1 that equals 2 is, not only do I think Paul George has something to prove, Kawhi Leonard does as well. He's putting his free agency on the same footing as Paul George. And if he doesn't like what he sees in 2 years, if he can't win a title with Paul George, maybe, just maybe,
Let me help you.
All right,
he's going to show you how much he runs
this
that
discussion right
way
now.
by going to the
I
Lakers.
know what I'm
I
getting out
have
of
a
Paul
feeling
George.
this is not the end of this debate. I think we're going to hear these names several more times throughout the show, so save some of that energy. All right, coming up on First Take today, if you didn't know, it is 7-11. So should the Knicks roll the dice on Russell Westbrook? Keep it locked. First Take.
I hate that.
Oh, plus, the U.S. women's soccer won the gold, but their fight for equal pay continues. Next on First Take.